And so up next, we got another highly touted fight between Anthony Smith and Devin Clark. Anthony Smith, household name here, rocks a 33-16 record. He's been around for some time. And, he's really had to face a lot of good competition from what I've seen. He lost to John Jones in decision, which is no joke. He submitted Gustafsson, who we're very familiar with. And then his most recent losses, he got knocked out by Glover Teixeira, who we just saw a few weeks ago just smash. And, he lost to Rakic in decision. So, these are very tough fights. He further proves his credibility. Devin Clark, he comes in at 12-4. Also a nice nickname there with the brown hair. He also lost to Rakic by KO. So that's, some familiarity both those guys have. But he has, a few wins coming into this one. He's on a bit of a heater. He's a smaller guy, but, he's more powerful. I do see that he has that, weight advantage that I'm hoping he uses against Anthony Smith to his advantage. Hold him up against the fence there. Use that weight to really press on him and not get knocked. Where do you see this one kind of going?
So you know what? That was some great analysis, but I do want to take you down a trip down memory lane because, frankly, you just said a few weeks ago for Anthony Smith and Glover Teixeira, my man, and it just goes to show. Not only were we not doing this show when this fight happened, but it goes to show how long you've been watching fights during.
Oh no, I was saying Glover, who we saw a few weeks ago, not that fight.
I thought there was such a beautiful little moment for us.
Sorry, man, Glover, who we saw.
I have to cut that. I might as well just cut that, so not to just have that in there. But that was so sweet. I was gonna do a nice little because there's such that's one of our biggest losses of all time, and that's what made me believe. Anyway, I could do the part with Glover, and. So what's really, really nice is that you brought up the Glover fight. It takes me back to a time when we weren't even doing the show, but, we were starting to watch fights during the pandemic. But it was the fight that sold me personally on Glover. That fight was what made me really, really pretty much tell you that line does not make sense because Glover's a new man. And he proved that, I think with regards to Anthony Smith, we're kind of seeing an opposite trend. I hate to put him down, but, there was that massive robbery in that fight. I'm not going to lie. Maybe there's some mental trauma. Maybe he's dealing with a lot of stuff because he's gone through some pretty serious fights over the last little while. Some huge trajectory after taking a lot of fights over the course of a career. So with Anthony Smith, I have some concern about some mental trauma. And he's the guy that basically said, he would fire his coaches if they ever threw in the towel kind of thing. And, I understand that concept as a fighter mentality without question. I get it more than anyone. But, when everything starts lining up, like amount of fights, the way you're losing, the way you take shots, all these kinds of things, right? You do start having to consider all that. And so right now he's on a bit of a skid. And I think this fight might be that deciding factor. Now, I'm not trying to say fight, career ending, anything like that, but you said it best, right? Skills perspective. Devin Clark, losses to similar guys like Rakic, and he does get pretty tired too. So these are all things that Anthony Smith will definitely benefit from. And we've seen him go 5 rounds and really do what he can against championship level fighters. That's my whole opinion there. That's where Anthony Smith is all the credit in the world to who he's taken some of these losses from, that's the big thing. But unfortunately, Rakic beating both these guys, right? So the way I see it is Clark likes to fight against the fence as well. He likes to be in the clinch and all that kind of stuff. But that might be a bad position for him against, someone who's so big and thick and lean at the same time for this division. I think he's able to throw really good elbows and all that kind of stuff. And that's where he gets his takedowns and sets up some of the submissions. So I think there's a huge amount of weight on Smith, and I hope he uses it as a positive rather than, what we would call some of the mental aspects that go into, the fight game.
Yeah, absolutely. This definitely seems poised to be a career-defining fight for Smith, for sure. And I'm curious to see how he does against the powerful, Devin Clark there. So, in terms of odds, jumping right into it, where do you peg Vegas to have this line to open at?
I do have to. Oh, are we doing the same thing as last time now?
No, not the line movement hasn't been that crazy,
okay,
but I just
great.
want to see where you peg the opening
Okay.
line.
I do think Anthony Smith is the favorite for one, and I do think the line I mean, recency bias just isn't there for me, so Vegas should feel the same. And I have met a minus 190 because I don't think he should be a dog in any case.
Okay, so he's definitely not a dog, but he's not as big of a favorite as you expected. He opened at a minus 130 favorite, so pretty close to a pick'em. Today, when I look, he's about a minus 140, so it is, trending towards Anthony Smith there in terms of, where Vegas sees this fight going.
That's an interesting line. You know what? Like I said, my 50-point, I try to take advantage of that, right? So you described it very perfectly. It was a pick 'em and it now it's starting to move up. That's a great way of trying to avoid the plus lines, but trying to hedge as much of the, minus money that I possibly can. So I really do agree with the line. I agree with the movement. And so, I think we actually have a pick right there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're loving the vet. You're loving the vet.
It's a career-defining moment, I just hope that things have started to line up for him. I think physically he's there, man. He's really there. He's a phenomenal fighter, but mentally, there seems to be a lot on this man's mind, and you've learned about some of it, and I think that takes a toll. The shots to the head. I mean, we're seeing it in the NFL, right? Those are not fun long term. You might be able to take so many goddamn blows to the head you wouldn't believe, but the long-term damage is definitely an issue. And unfortunately for him, these type of fights that make all the, just bleed type of fans kind of go crazy. It's why I don't enjoy them so much, right? And that's why some of the fighters, they're the type to really kind of, Khabib, best example, right? We brought up that story of the Gaethje finish. That's a great version, but he chose to sleep him instead of breaking a limb because he knew he wouldn't tap. All those little things, right? That's why we like the fighters. That's why we love those guys, because they're not in there to kill or beat the shit out of anybody. They're really in there to just win a fight. It's that
respect level.
It's what makes it a sport. Let's be real.
For your opponent.
Totally agree, man.
Absolutely. So looking forward to that one. Stay tuned, but I do believe we're going to be locking in Anthony Smith real quick here.
There were so many sad tones in that fight, but we really tried. Kudos to Paisan for trying to bring the mood up every single time. But like we said, best of luck to both guys. It's going to be a close fight. Obviously trending in the Anthony Smith, and rightfully so. He's the veteran. He's fought for big fights. He deserves that movement.
Absolutely. As usual, hit that bell button below, subscribe.
Ring.
All our information is in there. We got playlists for you to click on, some of our prior content, Instagram, Twitter, it's all on there. Our pics will be up there. Always, it's a pleasure, my man.
You too, guys. And then, frankly, Pi said it best. You search a fighter. There's some guys you've already covered a few times, so feel free to check them out. Subscribe, like. Pies, I love you, bro. Can't wait to get into the next card.